PT Crusaders, hello. Okay, today I'm going to try and fit a gizmo device to a 2004 CRD PT Cruiser, first generation. Now this is the gizmo device that I got from a guy who goes by the name of Tex. I'll put his contact details in the description. At the time of purchasing this, we're talking about 20 quid. Now the reason for doing this is it's essentially to bypass the EGR valve. So the other way of doing that, as I understand it, is to blank off the EGR valve, but that involves you having to get remapping done on your car, which can be quite expensive, and that's a more kind of destructive way of going about bypassing the EGR. Reasons that I'm interested in doing this, apparently you get a cleaner burn of the fuel, leading to a more efficient kind of operation, increased acceleration, hopefully less smoke coming out because you're not re-burning some exhaust stuff, and hopefully as well an increase in miles per gallon. So this is what we're going to do. The instructions I've been given make it seem fairly simple to do. We're not actually snipping any wires or anything like that. We're essentially piggybacking off of the system that's already in place, but this thing kind of tricks it into thinking, I guess, the EGR is still there when it's not. So we'll give it a go. Alright, now we've got the air filter housing and everything out of the way. You can see what we're doing here. So this, as I understand it, that's the EGR valve itself, which we're not going to be dealing with directly. Tracing that back all the way over here, this is the EGR solenoid for the EGR valve, right? Don't ask me what a solenoid is, exactly what it stands for or does. I'm not completely sure. Some sort of filter down here, looks a bit manky, might have to replace that at some point. Now this is the bit we're interested in on the solenoid. There's a plug coming right up underneath here. I've loosened it already. Let's see if that will come off. Right, that unclips. I've already undone that because it was a bit fiddly. So we've got two wires on this one, which colour match to the ones on the gizmo. We need to blade back very carefully some of this plastic just to give us a bit more wire room to work with. And what we're going to do is bridge from that across to the air mass intake sensor wiring. So, you know, again, you have to blade back a little bit of tape to work with because we've got to put Scotch locks to kind of clamp this together. I'm guessing, you know, as far down in here as we can get, kind of helps hide it away a little bit. Not sure how MOT legal this would be, probably not very. So that's what we're looking at. Alright, I've bladed back a lot of the tape from, this is the one that was connected to the EGR solenoid. I thought there was loads of wires under here, but it's just the same wires bunched over, so that's why it will feel a lot thicker under a lot of that tape. So the one thing I could stress when doing this is take your sweet ass time blading this back. I took my time doing this because the last thing I need in trying to do this for myself is to cut something and then have to get somebody else to fix what was not needed fixing. So yeah, that's, you know, giving myself more than enough room there. We can tape all this up afterwards, but please take your time. If this is your bread and butter, you don't need me to tell you that. But if you're a novice like I am, then you gotta make sure you get it right first time. This is the one I've bladed back on the air intake one. You can see this just folds around, comes all the way under there, so I've tried to do this so I can tuck it out the way. 5 wires. Now on the gizmo there's a yellow wire, single yellow wire that we've got to connect to the, it'll piggyback off the air intake one. It's wire number 5, which is this outer edge. If you can see this, the top one on the screen, that's the all yellow wire. There are a couple ones that look like yellow. First of all, there's a green and yellow, which we don't want. There's a green and pink, you can identify that one, so don't worry about that. There's this yellow and white one, that's the one we want. Let me just double check while I'm saying that. This is the gizmo, single yellow and white wire. That's the one we want. Right, I'm just going to go back in and warm my hands up because I'm bloody freezing and have another coffee. Ta-ta! And welcome back. Okay, coffee done. Important business out of the way. Right, next phase of the operation. We're working with Scotch locks, which is not something that I've used before, but this will enable us to connect wires together without the need to clip or other means of fastening and stuff. So understand how this works. You've got two ends here. One end is blocked off on these, so we'll be sliding the existing wire that we want to use from either the EGR leads or the air mass intake, sliding that in so it goes through the long way, and then adding in the wire that we want from the gizmo into the open end on the other side. So that's what we're going to do. This little guillotine piece in the middle, this metal bit, acts kind of like a guillotine, except that it's got grooves in the middle, so it will chop down. You have to use a pair of decent pliers to press down once it's all in place. The idea being that will chop through the outer plastic of the wire, just leaving the exposed bit in the middle where it will act as a bridge between the two, so the current flows through those. Once that's all squished into place, fold this lock over and clip it, and then tape it up afterwards, whatever. If the engine light comes on, apparently after I've fitted this, it should just mean that one or more of these locks has not been cinched in properly, so I'd have to go back and inspect that. But I'm guessing if you're unsure about doing that, if you took them off and just kind of taped the exposed bits over, you could plug the EGR thing back in and just carry on using that until you figure out what to do, because it wouldn't actually snip all the way through the wire, so we should be good. So that's what I'm going to try and do. We'll need 3 of these in total, one for each of these 2 wires on the EGR thing, and one for the yellow wire that we've got a bridge on our air mass intake thing. So I'm going to have a crack at that now. Right, we've got all 3 clips in place here. Wasn't too tricky to do. I'm still not 100% convinced that I may or not done it right, because you really do have to squeeze down with the pliers to get that blade all the way through, and obviously it's not meant to snip a huge amount, it's just going to snip the plastic. So if you don't get a clean connection with the exposed wire underneath, it's not going to work. Other than that, not too shabby. Moment of truth. Let's start it up. If we get an engine light, that means we've got to go back to the drawing board, so to speak, but it's not the end of the world, I'm sure. Left that EGR plug unattached, so we don't want that in at the same time. Let's start her up. Right. No engine management lights so far. So hopefully with that thing unplugged, the EGR solenoid thing unplugged, that should now mean that the gizmo is kind of working as that bypass, because otherwise I think the engine light would come on. So we might have struck a winner here. What I'm going to do is tidy that up a bit. I've got to go and pick the missus up, so I'll take this for a run around. If I make it back, I'll give you an update. Ta-ta! Just wanted to say as well, I've kind of tidied this up a little bit, just put some blue tape on there for now. Actually, I've got to get some black ones. Tucked it all out the way for now, just safely under there. Sorry, the light's going in now. So that's all kind of out the way. I forgot to mention there is one bolt that holds this solenoid unit on, just on a little bracket. You can undo that, move this out the way. Gives you a bit more leverage, especially when putting this back into place. You want to, at the end of the day, once I go back and do all this, have it all concealed. Once I know it's all good, all nice and tidy. There we go. Okay, just went for a quick test run to pick the missus up. The engine light stayed off, so I guess that means that I fitted it all okay. Would suggest that you really do clamp down as hard as you can on those scotch locks, just to make sure it's cinched all the way in. It's not going to do any damage. It's not going to snap the wire or anything. So yeah, that's all good. I swear I felt there was more pep in the step on the acceleration on this. Only a little short trip around town, and my car is not the best one probably to judge that on, because I'm pretty sure I've got a split in the turbo hose that's slowing me down, man. But yeah, as far as I'm concerned, a success. So time will tell what the benefits elsewhere may be. So if the gizmo is something that you are intrigued, or you've got a need to kind of sort the EGR out without actually having to get involved and take that to pieces or replace it or whatever, give this a try. Like I said, the contact details for your man Tex, that will be in the description. So drop them a line. Thanks for watching. See ya.